Samhain was perhaps the most important of the four festivals and still the most widely celebrated today. The tradition of Samhain, now known as Halloween, began over 2,000 years ago by a group of ancient Celts known as the Druids, and is still relevant in modern times all around the world.
The Celts believed in the transition of darkness into light, and in Celtic tradition, summer was characterized by light and winter by dark. Therefore, this day marked the changing of seasons and the beginning of the Celtic New Year. This also marked the lowering of the veil between this world and the next. The idea of light and change were included in the symbol of fire. A ceremonial part of Halloween was the fire festival located on the Hill of Ward. On October 31st, all of the old year fires across the country were to be extinguished. Then after sunset, the ceremonial New Year Samhain fire was to be lit here and carried to 7 other hills around the county, including Tara and Loughborough. In the original tradition, all fires in the country must be lit with the embers of this fire. But realistically, the lighting upon the hill marked that all fires could be relit in households. Beyond just the recognition of change, this tradition had meaning to the spiritual world as well. During the period of darkness, spirits were abroad, so the lighting of the fire signaled that all was well within the spiritual world. It was believed that on this day, the souls of departed family members returned home, but also violent souls were released. When the fire was lit, the victory of light was celebrated and feasts began. Ancestors were able to be welcomed home, where they sought the warmth of the fire and food that was left out for them. House members made sure to go to bed early to avoid these spirits. People used to wear costumes so they could not be identified by the evil spirits, and they would be led to believe that they were one. The Druids felt that this world and the other world were closest at this point, and because it had a special alignment with the sun.
Halloween, or Samhain, marked the last day of the pastoral cycle. This is where all of the crops are dug up and put away and stored for the long winter ahead. Also a time for the livestock to be moved back closer to the homestead, and a time where they were picked for slaughter. The animals that were too weak to survive the winter were slaughtered. The ones that were in good health were saved. At the same time, all corn, fruits, and berries were to be harvested and saved as well. The berries were to never be eaten during Halloween. It is said that after November 1st, the puka roams free on Samhain. Thus, the legend says that all of the berries are bewitched and inedible. The puka, Irish for spirit and or ghost, is primarily a creature of Irish folklore, considered to be bringers both of good and bad fortune. They could either help or hinder rural and marine communities. It is also known as Ireland's sinister shapeshifter. Though the most popular picture of a puka comes out as a jet black horse with golden eyes. Another is giant rabbits, goat-headed men, and many other oddities. The Irish people that walk home alone at night fear the puka and dreaded ever crossing paths with it. It is to be said that the puka would carry away people on his back and bring them on a long journey throughout the countryside. A clever man from County Wicklow wore silver spurs to stop the puka from taking him away. The silver burned the puka and the man was left alone. This was then believed to have occurred in Pola Puka, which means whole of the puka, hence the name. There are many shapes of the puka. In the northern part of Ireland, the puka takes shapes of a goblin, deformed and wizened. In the southeastern part of Ireland, the puka is an eagle-like creature, and in Roscommon, it is a goat. Everywhere else, the puka is a giant dog. No matter where, though, the puka is to be respected and feared.
Jack-o'-lanterns actually came from the idea of hollowed-out turnips to bring home an ember from the celebratory communal fire on Halloween, where you would then light your own fire with it. Instead of costumes like we have now, the Irish would wear animal skins and heads. Trick-or-treating even originated in Ireland, when the poor were said to have gone from house to house begging for money from wealthy families to fund their own celebration. A traditional fruitcake baked for a family where a few symbolic items were baked into the cake, and whoever cut that piece, it was to tell their future based on what they chose. An old Irish tradition is trying to eat an apple off a string tied to a doorframe or a tree limb. This closely resembles the American tradition of trying to do the same, only with apple cider donuts. Apples were associated with love and fertility, and it was said whoever took the first bite would be first to marry. In other parts around the world, traditions are similar. American Halloween has become a widely celebrated holiday. In Latin American countries, they burn incense, decorate and clean up the grave sites, and leave samples of the deceased's favorite food. However, this is celebrated on November 2nd. In France, they don't even celebrate Halloween and didn't know about it until 1996. In Austria, they leave bread, water, and a lighted lamp on a table to welcome dead souls back. Canadian Halloween was started in the 1800s when it was brought over by the Irish and Scottish settlers. In Germany, they hide their knives on Halloween night so the spirits will not find them. In Hong Kong, their festival is Yulan, or the Festival of the Hungry Ghosts. They believe spirits roam the earth for 24 hours and burn pictures of money and fruit, hoping it will reach the deceased in the afterlife and bring comfort to them. In Sweden, they celebrate Alla Helgons Dag, which is celebrated from October 31st to November 6th.
Halloween was originated in County Meath 2,000 years ago on one of the Celts' main spiritual centers called Tilga, or the Hill of Ward. This hill was shrouded in folklore and otherworldly beliefs which made it special. Most ties to Halloween are connected to this region, and even today, people still make the pilgrimage to this center to celebrate Samhain.